And welcome to today's session. Good evening to all young girls sitting in the audience. How are you all? Good. So we're meeting again. Some of you have met us before and some of you are new here. So I'm Professor Bezos from Department of Material Science and Engineering and Faculty Coordinator of the STEM Mentorship Program for High School Girls. So this event today is being organized under this program in collaboration with the Embassy of the United States of America, New Delhi. And and we also have one more organization joining us in collaboration, Girl Up, and we have coordinator from there, Ms. Aditi, with us. So big hand. So a brief introduction about the school. So we have in the audience girls from the 9th and the 11th standards. Some of you have already taken science as your stream, and some of you are deciding whether to take science or not, right? So we have schools from Delhi NCR, from Delhi government and KVs, as well as some of the private schools have joined us today. As part of this program, a brief introduction, we've had summer phase in July, May, June period, where you all had come to visit us on the campus, and we had organized some lectures from faculty of IIT Delhi and workshops, do-it-yourself session with the makerspace. And I hope you enjoyed and got inspired by the ideas shared by our faculty members with you all. So as part of the second phase, which is ongoing now, you are at your school, and then we invite you for a session every month till you join us back in your winter vacation that will be in the month of January. And again, we have some exciting sessions, planned for you all. So for today's session, we have a very renowned speaker from the United States, Ms. Aisha Bowe'S with us. I'm sure many of you would have seen her webpage, but I would still like to introduce her and give a very exciting introduction. So Ms. Aisha is a trailblazer in STEM, combining her roles as a founder, entrepreneur, rocket scientist, a women in STEM advocate, and soon to be astronaut. So she's like a multitasker and a lot of roles. In 2013, she founded STEM Board, a tech company that engages youth in STEM educational opportunities. It was named one of the fastest growing companies in America by Inc. 5000 and has won several awards for its work with the US Department of Defense. The same year, she fundraised almost $2 million to create Lingo, a self-paced coding kit. It's currently used by 5,000 students in 10 different countries. In high school, Aisha was told by a high school counselor to become a cosmetologist. She decided instead to listen to her father's advice and took a math class at a local community college. She went on to receive a bachelor's degree in aerospace engineering and her master's degree in space systems engineering, both from University of Michigan. After graduating with a master's, she began working at NASA as an aerospace engineer for over 5 years. Throughout her time there, her work focused on miniaturized satellites and aircraft trajectory optimization. In the coming few months, Aisha will make history when she boards an upcoming Blue Origin flight that will cross the Kármán line, the internationally recognized boundary between Earth's atmosphere and outer space. With this, she will become the first black woman on the New Shepard rocket, part of Jeff Bezos' space flight company Blue Origin, and the 6th ever black woman to travel to space. So Ms. Aisha, she stands as an inspiration to students all over the world, and I'm pretty sure we'll have an exciting session today. And a brief introduction about the Girl Up organization who have joined us today, and some students have also joined from there. It's a United Nations foundation as an initiative dedicated to support adolescent girls' education, health and safety. Since then it has become a global movement that engages, trains and mobilizes girls and young people of all identities to be leaders. So without much delay, I would now invite Ms. Aisha to the stage and have this exciting session get started. Thank you.
Hi. Hi. Hello. Namaste. Guys, I'm so excited to be here with you. First of all, this is like an amazing room. I always love speaking to girls. And so I want to prepare you guys because today I'm not going to be talking to you. I'm going to be talking with you. Which means that you guys are going to be asked to answer some questions. Don't be shy. Some of the questions will be individual. Some of the questions will be easy. Some of the questions will require you to raise your hand, but just raise your hand in groups. But today's session will largely be interactive, and I'm excited to get started. So we're just going to warm up with what I would consider to be an easy question, and I want to see a show of hands. Does anyone have any idea what I was like when I was younger? Yes? No? All right, let's see show of hands. How many people think that I was an A? And I don't mean an A student, I mean, how many of you guys think that I was a shy student who never raised your hand? Can I see? Okay, we got one. Okay, we got one. Okay, two. Oh, you guys, when we raise our hands, we're gonna have to raise them high, firm, right? None of these kind of, okay, there we go. There we go, all right. How many of you think that maybe I was B? That I was on time with my homework and a good student? Ooh, what's this? You think good things of me? Shake that. Okay. How many of you all think that maybe I was a C student, someone who got in trouble, you're laughing. It's way too much. All right. And how many of you guys think that I was like, I don't know, C, love to joke, was maybe considered to be a class clown? All right. What? The answer is C. C. That is correct. I was not focused on math and science. And I think you guys kind of heard, right? Like, I was not somebody who, when I was your age, that someone was gonna think would go into engineering. So let me ask you, let's try that ABCD thing one more time. So if I'm not focused and I'm not interested in math and science, what am I interested in? Is it being an engineer? No. Okay. No. Okay. What about C? Did I want to be a doctor? No. No? Raise your hands. Like I just said no. Okay. No. C. Anybody think I was interested in law? Okay. Law is still respectable choice, right? Right? How about D? You guys, give yourself a round of applause. Almost all of you guys have tried. Very good. And so this cute little baby, this is me. And as you guys can see, I was actually really small. I was a very small person for the majority of my life. I didn't grow until I was in high school, and this was after I stopped gymnastics. So I was kind of small and shy and pretty much scared of like everything. And in fact, I was so scared that I forgot to dream. I was telling you that I didn't even really know how. I felt like everything in the world around me was too much. When I was this age, my parents were getting ready to go through what would be a really tough divorce for me. I was not performing in school, and the people around me weren't saying that they thought I could be good or I could be great. And so I fell victim to pretty much every negative thought I had in my head. And you guys are girls. You know how hard it can be. Some days you wake up and you don't feel pretty, you don't feel confident, you don't feel strong. You feel stressed, you feel overwhelmed. And sometimes things can feel like they're just too much. And so this little shy person never thought that I was gonna go to college. And I didn't think that I was smart. And in fact, because I didn't think of these things, I didn't try. And so when I met that high school guidance counselor, and she suggested that I become a cosmetologist. That didn't just come out of nowhere. It kind of came out of a 2.313 GPA I had in high school. That's not very good. Don't do that. That's like less than C. It's not a good GPA. But all those bad things I was telling myself, all of that doubt, all of that fear of dreaming and succeeding, it won. I literally let that voice track in my head win out. And so because of that, everything outside of my life reflected how I felt about myself inside. Well, I ended up going to community college because I didn't even apply to school because I didn't think I was going to get in. So I didn't initially try to go to university, which was a big mistake. And I was sitting in community college and I just started to realize that every day I just felt bad. And I didn't want to feel bad anymore. And so I wrote myself a little list, and my list was really simple. It was, I want to wake up in the morning and I want to feel beautiful. I want to wake up and I want to feel happy, and I want to wake up and I want to be successful. And in order to feel those things and live that life, I want to go to university from community college. And I want to do something that demonstrates that dreams are real. And that reality and all of the negative things that we can tell ourselves, because sometimes we can be our own worst enemy, girls, all those bad things that you tell yourself when you're not controlling your thoughts, they're wrong. And so I decided that I was going to become a rocket scientist in community college. Everybody around me thought I had lost my marbles. Literally, they were like, no, Aisha, there's just no way. Like, you can't take an unsuccessful high school career, go from community college, and do something that literally no one's ever seen anybody in their family do. But they were wrong, and I did it. I went from pre-algebra in community college to graduating with an undergraduate degree in aerospace engineering from the University of Michigan, to a master's degree in space systems engineering with a concentration in satellites that are the size of a shoebox, to eventually going and working at NASA. And this lady, Shikha Ganguly, was like my best friend along the entire journey, the whole way. And so if there's one thing that you guys take out of this talk today, it's that whatever you believe, you will literally achieve it. It does not matter whether or not it's likely or realistic or anybody else thinks so. What matters is how you feel about yourself, how you talk about yourself, and the dreams you want to create for your own life. Now, we are going to talk a little bit more about what is this dream. And I want to prepare you guys because you're going to have to get involved. There's some interaction coming soon, so get ready. But once I started to believe that dreams were real, I started to get really sad that when I would go into high schools because I'm working at NASA and I would talk to students about space and science, and they did not think that it was fun. They did not want to be engineers, and in fact, most of them were surprised that I even graduated with an aerospace degree. I literally used to keep my degrees in the trunk of my car. It was like I was trying to sell mixtapes or something out of the back of my car, because no one had ever seen somebody who looked like me. I like to wear pink suits though, so I'll give them that. We're coming from NASA to talk to them about space and science and being so excited by it. And so I said, okay, well, if I can do this thing, and you can do this thing, what happens if we do this thing together? Well, then we change the world. And so working at NASA for me was this incredible experience of deciding that I wanted to know more about nanosatellites and getting a chance to fly to Kodiak, Alaska with the nanosat for integration. It was getting to work with space shuttle astronauts like this gentleman here, Charlie Bolden, who was the NASA administrator and is a decorated space shuttle astronaut, who is not only an incredible person, but came out to support me, the person who never thought that they could even be there. And the more that I started to develop this career, I started to see less and less and less of rooms like this. It was me, and I was one of a few, as opposed to being one of many. And I started to say, well, why is it that space looks a lot like the other side of the slide, right? It looks like the Bezos and Branson side of the slide. But I wanted it to be Bezos, Branson, and both. And in order to do that, I need you guys. And so we're going to go through an exercise of what it was like to be a NASA engineer. Now don't worry, it's not going to be ABCD. We're going to go true or false. And I'm going to challenge you guys to answer some questions that communicate the types of challenges and problems that space agencies around the world are working on right now that I bet most of you guys are going to get right. So let's start off with the first question. Do you guys think that this is true or false? Ooh, I didn't have hands. Oh, I love this. Okay, I love the tenacity. Okay, girls. I love it, I love it, I love it. So I'm guessing your hands are up because you have answers to the questions. But before we get the answers to the questions, the first thing I want to know is, who here thinks that this is true? Right. It was like 50-50. Who here thinks this question is false? I see. All right. Does anybody feel super confident about their false answer? Cool. Love it. Okay. Can you stand up and share? Do we have microphones in the audience? We do. You're ready for me. Okay. Can you please hand the microphone to the super confident, beautiful lady right there to give us an answer as to why this might be false?
I believe that this answer is false. I mean, it's not going to stay there forever.
Okay.
Eventually, after some time, it might decompose. Maybe, I don't know. I don't think it's gonna stay there forever.
Okay. Does anybody want to tag team on this false and add to the logic? I got people over there. Yes, you too. Yes, of course, you too. Go for it.
Okay, so the reason I think this is false is because the moon is made up of rocks.
Okay.
And as far as I know, rocks erode. Because the moon, as far as I remember, also has some sort of an atmosphere. And the rocks erode. And when rocks erode, you don't see what was left from them before. You don't see any marks that was on the rock before it eroded after it erodes.
Okay. So you pass the microphone to the one next to you.
I had the same answer.
You have the same answer. All right. It's false. Where is that again? Where is it again? It is false. Woo! The rationale behind the false is that while footprints last a really long time, right? Because the footprints from the Apollo astronauts are mostly still there. We also have to open up to the idea that you are correct and that over millions and millions and millions of years, things might shift due to impacts from things on the surface. Now, that doesn't mean that the footprint is going to disappear if it wasn't impacted, but it's not possible for it to be 100% true forever and forever and all the time. Question 1. Good job, ladies. Good job. And gents. And gents, too. Good job. Hands from your hands, too. Next question. Is this true or is it false? A NASA spacesuit costs $12 million. Oh, okay. So, show of hands. How many people think that that's true? Hold high. Oh, this is like half of it. Okay. How many people think it's false? Wow, okay. I would like to hear from one true. I would like to hear from one false. Who here believes that it's true? Microphones, I'll let you pick. It's up to you.
Okay, hello. So I think it's true because I know that when you go to space, like you have to have a lot of there's a lot of when you go there you have to have a lot of protection from the atmosphere and all that from what I know. And just the engineering behind the suit itself is very complicated because that suit holds a life of a person who has given to go to space. So because of that, because of the engineering, the hard work, so that life is protected, I think it should cost a lot of money. Okay. So that's why I think it costs $1 million.
Got it. Okay. And let's hear from one false.
Hi, okay, so I think this is false. I do not disagree with anything she said. I agree. I think they're very expensive, but I just don't think they cost like $1 million. If they will be very expensive, I'm sure, but I don't think so. They'll cost $1 million. I think.
So what is expensive to you? How much do you think it costs if it's not $1 million?
It could cost $500,000, or I don't know. It might lead to 1 million, or maybe less than $500,000.
Okay.
It is very expensive, but I don't think it will be $1 million. Like it's a luxury.
Let's see, show of hands. How many people think it's more than $1 million? Okay, good. How many people think it's more than $4 million? Right. Adults, mostly not raising your hands. I see you guys up there. How many people think that it's more than $10 million? Spacesuit, $12 million. But you want to know what's really, really cool about this? Is that by adding the number of people going to space, you can decrease the cost of the creation of not only spacesuits, but the technologies around space. I don't know if you guys remember this, but there used to be a day where there was only one phone in a house. And it was not cheap, right? Like I can remember my mom spending hundreds of dollars on a new phone. And then eventually we got a really long cord for that phone. And then eventually there was something called caller ID. Yes, I remember when caller ID was invented. And then from there, we got these phones where you could click over and you could have 2 calls, and then you could have 3-way, and it would grow and grow and grow. No one had cell phones. I got my very first cell phone in high school. The amount that was spent on phones back then compared to the cost of phones today, it's very different, right? And that doesn't mean that an iPhone still may not be expensive, but it means that there are so many options. You can literally buy an inexpensive phone for like $50, or you could choose to get the Maserati of phones for like $1,000. You can get a satellite phone if you wanted to. But as more people have adopted these technologies, there are more options and they become less expensive. Something else I want to add about spacesuits, and I have one that I'm not wearing today, and if I was, you'd see the difference. But most of the people that have gone to space, they're men. Which means that most spacesuits are designed for men. And while I understand why this is, women do represent a significant portion of the population. And with the increase of women going to space, there are spacesuits that are now being developed specifically for women. And so one of the engineers that I know back in the United States, she created a prototype design that is patent pending where the seams of the suit are actually zippers. And what's really cool about this is that it means that for the first time, instead of having to take off an entire suit to go to the bathroom or to even connect something, you can literally zip off a part of the leg. That is actually a game changer, not just for spacesuits, but for flight suits as well. As oftentimes a lot of pilots, especially in the military, will wear similar types of outfits. And so with the increase in the number of diversity, whether it be locality, whether it be gender, there are so many more efficiencies that are being brought to light. Now, earlier today, and I do want to give a nod to India and what has been accomplished in the Indian space industry. It's been phenomenal. But one of the things, and I need to learn what the term for this is in Hindi, and maybe Diptak, you can help me out, but there's this concept of being frugal and being efficient. And as a result, the space agency here has accomplished things on a budget that pales in comparison to some of the budgets that have been executed in the United States. And what's really exciting about that is that this idea of making it accessible also relates to cost. It also relates to time. And for a long time, you only had large countries with large budgets kind of doing things. And then all of a sudden, countries are landing on the moon. They're landing on Mars on their first shot. They're doing it in record-breaking time. And as these things continue to occur, we're going to start to see the cost of entering into space plummet. And that's super exciting for me. But we're not done. We got one more question. So let's talk about Mars. True or false? Mars is red because it's rusty. Oh. All right. How many people here think it's true? Solid. Oh, we did okay. All right. Who here thinks it's false? The majority of you think it's false. Okay, so let's hear from Team False. Why do we think that this is false? Microphones, go ahead and pick someone out.
I feel like Mars is rusty. Is red because it's rusty because the large amount of iron oxide in Mars, and I feel like that's the reason.
Okay, so does that make the answer to this true, or does it make it false? True. And that is right. Congratulations. Mars is red because there's a huge amount of iron oxide covering Mars, which is also known as rust. Aside from the fact that we know what this is, and it also exists here on Earth, can anybody guess why this is so exciting to me? Yes, why else?
Because for rust to form, we also need moisture. So does that mean Mars also has some amount of water content there?
Maybe at some point in time. I mean, we know that there's likely some water that has been there at some point.
Maybe.
Yes. Why else?
It means that there might be some life on Mars, which we can discover in the future.
Yeah. So one of the things that I love about all of this, right, is that we're walking and we're talking through these questions. And in this moment, we think as a society that we have a good handle on certain things. But sometimes we go back and we have to revise because we're wrong. We have to revise because we thought Pluto was a planet, but it's not. We have to revise because we thought that there wasn't water, but there is. And when you see things like this, what you start to realize is that a lot of the things that exist here on Earth exist in other places. It is quite possible that not only might there have been water and life, maybe, who knows, on the moon, but there may also have been life and water on Mars, and there quite possibly is life and water on a bunch of other places on the planet. And while I would personally love to go and explore those places and figure that out, that's something I'm going to need for you guys to think about doing. Because the more that we start to look out, the more that we realize that there are lots of other places that could potentially be Earth-like in terms of their distance from a sun, and could potentially have gravity, and who knows what life or other things that they could hold. Which is why it's so important for you guys to get involved, because in 5 or 10 years, who knows what the book of science is going to say. It might say Mars, no life, accessible water. Or maybe it says something else. Maybe it says that we've figured out how to travel faster than Einstein's theories would allow us. We literally go back and we relook at those things whenever there's a discovery. But you guys just need to discover it. So I love these questions because this is literally what work was like every single day. Oh, I have one special one. But you guys already know the answer to this, so you want to tell me what it is? This was so impressive. Like, I remember when this news came out, I was in the States and all my space friends were screaming. Because not only was this amazing, but like, doing it on the first attempt, it's so incredibly exciting. And it's part of why when I got the invitation to come here, I was like, absolutely. I can't wait. But I have another plan for you that is also awesome. And let's go ahead and get to it. We're gonna come back to Earth for a second. And it's this one. And the reason why I'm so excited to put this up here is that this is just a small example of the brilliance that is the future of not only international government space, but commercial space. We have individuals who are flying with new companies, like SpaceX and Blue Origin, and we have individuals who are working with established, older companies to ensure that the future looks different from the past. And with each and every one of these space launches, it creates an opportunity for you all to engage. And when I talk about this engagement, because I've definitely had the opportunity of meeting at least a couple of these folks in person, what we're really excited about is figuring out not only how to get you guys into space, but to get your dreams to space. And hold on to that, because we're going to come back to that one when we end. When we talk about the dreams, I want to tell you guys this little story, and then we're going to close out for Q&A. Because I know I started with not knowing what I wanted to do, going and working at NASA, deciding that I wanted more than just to be supporting a mission, but I wanted to actually become part of the spaceflight mission. Well, one day I met this girl, her name's Claire, and this is a picture of Claire and I. She's 13 years old, and she said to me, "Hey, Aisha, I want to be an aerospace engineer." And so I said, "Okay, Claire, well, why don't you come to work one day and I'll show you around." I was a 23-year-old engineer. I had no idea that I could be a role model. Like, I definitely did not think that I was a role model. I just decided that if she thought that she wanted to be an aerospace engineer, she'd come to work with me for the day, and we'll see how it worked out. Well, at the end of the day, I was so impressed by 13-year-old Claire, who came with the NASA binder, who came with great questions, and demonstrated curiosity for the field, that I said, look, There's going to be a seminar series at NASA, and so if you want to come back, I'll make sure to get you from the visitor's gate, and you can come and see these seminars. Well, one seminar turned into two, and the next thing you know, Claire has decided that she would like to someday in the future become a NASA intern. And so 3 years passed, right? From 13 to 16, which was the first and the earliest opportunity to intern with the agency. And she got an internship working with an engineer that I knew who was in my division. And so at 16, now she's got an internship. The internship went to her applying to college, and she decided to study aerospace engineering at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. She not only studied it, she excelled in it, and she started mentoring other girls. And when she finished, she said, "Hey, Aisha, I want to know if you can give a talk for my graduating class during our aerospace capstone project." And I said, "Absolutely, I'd be happy to." And so I did. And at the end of that, she says to me, "I think I want to go and I want to work in commercial spaceflight." And I told her, why not? When I started working in nanosatellites at NASA Ames, no one thought that that was going to take off, but it did. And now nanosatellites are like a thing, and now commercial space is like a thing. So I don't have any issue with you going and working in a commercial spaceflight company. Well, that company that she chose was Blue Origin. And when I found out that I was going to have the opportunity to fly to space, I flew to Washington, and I went to work with Claire for the day. And at lunch, I told her that I was going to be the first African-American woman to fly with Blue Origin. And she looked at me, and she said, "You know, my goal is to be lead on the rocket engine team. That's the team that I work on right now. And I never doubted that I could do my job because you always did yours. I always knew that I could be an aerospace engineer. But now my job is to make sure that when you get on that rocket, you know that you're coming home." Since that day, Claire has not only gotten promoted, she was actually at the console of the last launch, and I will totally show that to you guys. But she's also been really active in something called Club for the Future. And Club for the Future is a nonprofit that Blue Origin operates that helps send dreams into space. But that story is more than just, it's more than just a small thing to me, right? Like, I kind of get choked up when I think about it, because you all not only have so much potential, but the very same people who are in this room, who are mentoring you, who are pouring into you, you are going to pour into them. You don't know yet what you're going to become, but it is going to be great. And for me to think that my life is literally in the hands of a 13-year-old girl who I have known for the past decade, and she's going to make sure that I get home, is exactly why I was so excited to start this trip, speaking with you. And so now what we're going to do, outside of talk a little bit about education and science, because I not only created a company that works on making these STEM concepts accessible, I have created a launch countdown lesson that we're launching with this, that I want to find a way to donate to your organization. So we're going to need to connect, because some of you guys are going to be getting those as gifts from me. But I want to go back to the Club for the Future piece, because this is what we're going to end on. We're going to end by sending your goals and your dreams on a rocket to the stars. Because that Claire, who works at Blue Origin, who supports Club for the Future, makes sure that postcards to space fly on rockets and get returned to the very same people who fill out their addresses and who write down their dreams. And today, we have those here with us. And today, that is what we are going to do. So I want you guys to take a moment while we get you the postcards that will be flown to space. And I want you to think about your dreams. And then I want you to write your dreams on these cards. And I want you to give them to us so that we can send them to space. Everybody have a pen. Yes, no, okay. If you don't have a pen, does somebody have 2 pens? You guys share. By the way, colored pencils are also very much appreciated. Some people sketch, they draw things, they put art on the back. But feel free to make the postcard your own. We're going to break up into 3. My trusty friends here at the US Embassy are going to go down to each row, and we have hundreds of these, so adults were welcome to get in on the action if you feel so inclined. If you don't smile, I'm thinking about you too. But this was done because we wanted to make the link between what happens when you empower and you inspire young girls and the incredible women that they become. And so if you can see me online, set up photos. You're absolutely amazing. Right, Nancy, how are you doing?
Did you guys get yours?
Okay, well, this section's done. Next. So we're gonna give you guys, let's see, maybe 5. If your knees are time, I'm gonna check in. But I think something I'm gonna roam around. And we'll see how it goes.
How many do you have? Check it. Seven guess. Next one. तो यू एक पीछे मैं वहाँ से एक मिनट
How about the balcony? Anybody go up there balcony? No? Okay. It's been balcony.
Can I go up to the balcony? Is there anybody?
Yes, nobody is there in the balcony.
Nobody's there. Oh, there is up to you.
Don't worry about it. Your parents are coming for you right now. Get your pens ready.
So interact
This is really nice. These cards are turning out really good. I know I'm not supposed to be spying on you, but some of you guys are incredibly creative. I see some rockets, I see some women. So while you guys are filling out your cards, I will take some question and answers. Do not feel rushed. We have some lovely assistants from our MC personnel, so if you are done, you'll be able to pass your card to the side of the row. If you're not done, keep working on it. You can just hear me answering questions. And if anybody has any questions, I would be happy to take one. Yes. Hi, tell us your name.
Yeah, hi. So I'm Aisha. Yeah. So I just want to ask, like, why do you want to go like into the space field? Why not something else inside?
Well, I initially chose myself to go into space because I didn't think that I would do it. It was sort of like a double dare. And when it started to become possible, I realized that sometimes when you dream something and you don't think that you can do that thing, but then you do it, it gives you a lot of confidence. And if you start to accomplish more things, then your confidence grows, and eventually you're going to do things that you never thought that you could ever do. And so what I realized was that I put a goal out there that was so big that it's led me to do even larger things. And so I love it. I mean, I literally just made up my job one day, and it became the best possible job for me.
So do you think I could make my own business at 20 years old?
Yes, I do. There's a lady in the United States. Her name is Michaela Ulmer. She started a lemonade stand. I think she was 6. And by the time she was 9, her lemonade was sold in Whole Foods. It's not about age, it's about freeing yourself from any restrictions that you place on what it is that you can do. Now, she still went to high school, she's still going to college, but if you want to create something, create it. It doesn't matter how old you are, just make sure that you have parental guidance and approval and try to make your dreams come true.
Thanks. Mention your
This.
12.
Usually, Claire was 13 when I met her, right? And she's now taller than me, and she's super successful. So there's really no limitation. Like, don't put any limitations on what you could possibly do. You will do that, and you will do so much more.
Thanks for the motivation. That's what I needed for the day.
You're welcome. And now I cannot wait for you to finish the post postcard so we can send your dream to space. Yeah, we're gonna take some questions. We got a lot of postcards. We're gonna work together, get this question done. Yes.
Hi, I'm Vanya.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too. First of all, you're an inspiration to so many people.
Thank you.
I've known you for years through internet. To meet you is insane to me right now. So forgive me if I stumble.
That's okay.
What does success mean to you? And what do you think are the key qualities or skills that require, particularly for us women and girls, to acquire that success in future for us?
Ooh, these are really good questions. These are like Thank you. It was like one of those really amazing questions.
Thank you.
So it's kind of difficult for me to answer because I initially thought that success for me was going to be graduating from college, working at NASA, and when I started, I only wanted to make $100,000. That was like my whole goal, right? Get a degree and make $100,000. And the first promotion that I got, it only felt good for like 10 minutes. Like adults, have you ever had it happen to you where like you've worked hard on something and then you achieve it and then you're on to the next thing, like literally like 15 minutes later, like you didn't just spend the last 2, 3, 4 years slaving for what you just accomplished? And so when I realized that success to me really was about figuring out what brought me not only joy, but it was more than money. Like, this is success to me. I had a dream that I wanted to create a business that would allow me to travel the world and inspire other people to think differently about what was possible in their lives. And here I am in Delhi talking to you. Nobody thought that that actually was real. I mean, come on, like, when was the last time you guys met an engineer that was on tour? I'm like on a tour in a foreign country and I'm an engineer. Like, what? That people had seen someone do when I created it. So for me, the success really lies in what I will inspire the rest of you guys to do. And then also for me, pushing my own boundaries, because 5 years ago, I never thought I would be in the line to go to space. I never thought that I was going to start another business. I never thought I was going to be invested in education or tackling these problems on a global scale. But here I am, and I'm basically devoting my life to educating and empowering women around the world. And I'm so excited for who I decide to be next year.
Even as someone who tries to really have dreams, and it's minute for me. For example, if you had asked me 10 minutes ago, I would have a different dream. And now I'm listening to you, I have stepped into more dreams.
Good.
So that's exactly what I wanted to hear. Being a new person every year, chapter.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that this is pretty safe to say now, but there was a time when you would go to school and you'd pick a career and you have to do that career for 3 years. It is no longer that time. Your job is to go and make decisions that give you more options. If you go and you get an engineering degree or you get some kind of STEM science degree, it allows you to do a lot of things. And you can continue to evolve. I went from being an aerospace engineer to running 2 businesses without having a business degree to now being a host of a business show. I mean, I just interviewed a guy who raised $700 million. And I'm not a business degree, right? I'm just somebody who continues to decide that they're going to evolve based off of the skills that I got in my STEM program, which taught me analytical thinking and also a lot about failure. And I didn't appreciate that at the time. Being in science taught me how to recover from failure because we've all been there when it's difficult to learn a new concept or you get something wrong or you don't get the top marks. And you have to figure out how to work harder and come back from that. Well, that is the same thing as life, right? Like, you're not going to win all the games you play in life, but you have to figure out how to rebound and how to recover. And you get that in science. So get your science degree and keep pushing. Of course, thank you for the question. Hey.
So first of all, you're an amazing inspiration. So my first question is that what you're an entrepreneur, you're a former scientist, you're a businesswoman. So what in your childhood motivated you to become so many things? And one day I would actually love to be so multi-talented as you are.
You are already multi-talented. I think I always had the capability, but the life circumstances are really what brought it out of me. I mean, the reason why I wanted to do so many things is that I'm essentially trying to create solutions to the problems I faced growing up. I faced people who felt that as a female, I was unlikely to become an aerospace engineer, or I was unlikely to be successful in the field, or I was unlikely to start a business, right? I didn't have venture capitalists who invested in my first company. I didn't come from a rich family. I didn't come from all these things. And so, as a result of that, I'm trying to put out an example for other people to follow or to improve upon for a lot of reasons. My father immigrated to the United States from the Bahamas in the 80s. He went to community college, became an electrical engineer. He worked for Ford Motor Company. He got his electrical engineering degree at 40 after having 3 children. I am not 40. I do not have 3 children. I cannot imagine how hard that was, right? For him at that age to do that thing. So for me, I want you to go, well, because Aisha Bowe'S did it, I can do it too. But I want you to do it at an earlier age. I want you to do it bigger than me. I want you to do it for your friends, for your family, for your community. Because while I might be an American citizen, the reality of it is that what we women are facing around the world is a global problem. We're all in it together. And it's not so much about setbacks, it's about not having the best possible future. It's about not having the best technology or the best decisions at the table. And that's what we miss out on by people who were not previously in the field, not decided to enter the field. So each and every one of you is really important to the future of innovation and technology. And like, that's what I'm excited about, right? That's why I decided to become multifaceted, because it was so easy to not, right? I mean, I get scared too. Like, I had to decide that I was like, look, you guys, okay. So I flew all the way here by myself, and it wasn't a short flight. I have never been this far by myself before, but I determined that I wanted to do it. And then it's like, okay, well, are they gonna like me? Am I gonna be inspirational? Is it gonna work out? Are my slides gonna show up? I don't know. Are they gonna like my outfit? I mean, there's so much, right, that goes through your mind before you do something like this. And so it's easier to say no. But what if I say yes, right? Like, what if I say yes and then I'm like speaking to the future female head of the Indian Space Agency, right? What if I say yes and I'm speaking to a future billionaire who's like, oh, I saw Aisha Bowe'S talk at IIT and like I said da-da-da-da. It's like, well, what if? And so, like, those really awesome outcomes come from just gambling on yourself and betting that you can do it. I'm kind of getting, we have to go? Oh, we just got started. Okay. Gotta take like, we gotta take a picture. We have to take a picture. One more. Okay, we'll take one more question. You guys got me talking. Yes. And we also have to get pictures. Yes, hi. Hello.
So it is a huge leap to go from community college to one of the first Black women to enter space. So I just wanted to ask, were there steps that you took, like any specific steps that you took to get to that point? And also, I did want to hear a little bit about the nano satellites that you were talking about. I thought that was an interesting concept.
Okay, well, she might cut me off. So the nanosatellites, there's a lot of information on that online, so I won't try to get some sentences in. But what I'm going to lean in on is that first question, because that's a brilliant question. What I really focused on was pouring into myself and affirming that I could do it. Because you guys, no matter how much you accomplish in life, it is so easy to doubt yourself. And the world will also doubt you. People will say things like you can't or you shouldn't or you couldn't and you won't. And what's really important is that you develop a sense of self that transcends all of that. So this morning, for example, even though I was jet lagged and I wasn't sure that I was really going to be able to make time for this, I sat down and I visualized myself having an amazing day. I sat down and I said, Aisha, I know you can do it. I know that you are smart enough to overcome the challenges before you in this day. And whatever the wording needs to be for you, it's so important that you tell yourself that you're beautiful and you're strong and you're funny and you're smart. And you don't listen to anybody that tells you otherwise. And then you take it a step further, and I told myself that I was going to be a rocket scientist. I told myself I was going to work at NASA before I got the job. I got a pair of luggage tags from NASA Jet Propulsion Laboratory, and I hung them on the back of my bedroom door, and I prayed over them every single day before I left for school for years before I got the opportunity to get that job. And while some people thought that that was a pie in the sky kind of dream, it's now something that I tell you as true. It's fact, right? So the most important thing that you can do is develop a strong sense of supporting you and making sure that you revisit that, because confidence is truly an inside job and it requires work. You're not going to feel great every single day, but as long as you understand that you're working on it and you have amazing people like who are around you, because sometimes when I don't feel good, I do call my girlfriend and they're like, no, you're great. You're amazing. And so you have to have that emergency girlfriend ready. I'm just serious. But create environments that support you and that affirm your dreams as you pursue things that people may not have seen other people do before. Yes. And did you finish their cards? If you haven't finished the cards, I think we want you guys to pass them to, give them to this guy. Okay, wait,
Hi, my name is Kanika.
Hello, hi.
Thank you for today's wonderful lecture that you gave us. And I want to ask you, how do you see yourself carrying this work forward, inspiring a lot of women, considering as well us? And how do you see yourself?
Yeah. So my goal right now is I want to become a billionaire. And I want to do that through education. I'm running an education company that I founded that now makes coding kits to teach rocket concepts and satellite concepts to high school students. That's like not a thing that really existed before. Large corporations do that, right? And in 2 years, aside from raising the $2 million for this business, we have sold nearly 10,000 kits. And I've given workshops in nearly a dozen countries. I want this to be a global thing. I want you all to have the tools and the exposure to these science concepts so that you can make informed decisions about your future. And so that's how I see myself moving forward. And my hope is that by a global, visible person doing these things, that other people will do these things. And that there will be more opportunity for everyone to advance. So, I think now we're going to
I would like to apologize because we are running out of time. We have limitations to the time, but you can always discuss with her all the tea if you want to hear about.
Yes, we're hitting
So with this, I would like to thank Aisha. This is a wonderful and inspiring talk. Resolution was you often your space scientists in the university, yours and probably they come back to us and say. So okay, so with this we bring the session to an end, and I would just like to bring to have a small gift for you. After you said this, I will take a picture.
Okay, perfect. Now we get the picture. I want to send this picture. I'm really going to post it and tag it for Blue Origin so that they can see all of the beautiful faces that she wrote the postcards.